Hi everyone, and welcome to SynthePulse. So, you've probably been wondering, is AI replacing programmers? I hear this question literally every day, and honestly, the hype cycle is exhausting. To get a real answer, I decided to do something a little crazy. I metaphorically fired my trusted developer assistant for 7 days and forced myself to rely 100% on AI coding tools for a complex project. I was genuinely nervous. This wasn't about generating a Hello World script. I was tasked with integrating a new API into our existing legacy system. I wanted to know if AI replacing programmers was a genuine threat or just a dramatic headline. After a week in the trenches, I have my answer. And let me tell you, it's not what the tech bros are preaching. This deep dive is about the highs, the terrifying lows, and the unexpected future of coding. Days 1 and 2, the honeymoon phase, why AI felt like magic. The first 2 days were euphoric. I was using a combination of a major LLM chat interface and a popular in-IDE assistant. We'll call it CodePal. The speed was unreal. I felt like a coding superstar, churning out features that would usually take hours. The speed boost, simple functions, and boilerplate code, for repetitive tasks, AI is a genuine game changer. I needed to set up user authentication boilerplate, write unit test for existing models, and create standardized data validation schemas. CodePal spat out thousands of lines of functional, clean, and perfectly documented code almost instantly. It was like having a tireless junior developer on my shoulder who never complained about writing repetitive SQL queries. If your job consists purely of turning well-defined requirements into simple, isolated code blocks, you should probably be concerned. The AI was exponentially faster at this part of the process than any human could ever be. I even used it to quickly generate code in a language I hadn't touched in years, Rust, just to see if it could handle the syntax perfectly. It did. This early success led me to believe the hype was true. My traditional coder was officially obsolete. What was I paying for again? All I needed was better prompt engineering. Day 3 and 4, hitting the wall, where the illusion broke. Then came the integration phase. This is where software development moves from writing beautiful, isolated functions to grappling with reality. Our system has quirks, legacy architecture, specific deployment environments, and undocumented dependencies built by a programmer who left 5 years ago. This is where the AI experiment stopped being fun and started giving me a massive headache. Context paralysis, the danger of poor documentation. AI models are spectacular generalists, but they are absolutely terrible specialists. I needed to integrate the newly generated API endpoints with our ancient data layer, which uses a non-standard caching mechanism. I fed CodePal pages of our internal documentation, but the output code was always wrong. Why? Because the documentation didn't perfectly capture the edge case behaviors of the decade-old system. That moment of historical context and critical reasoning, that's purely human. I spent more time debugging the AI's contextual errors than I would have writing the code manually. It was an extremely humbling experience. The integration issue is a major bottleneck for LLMs in enterprise settings. Integration nightmares and legacy systems, the glue problem. A programmer doesn't just write code. They write the glue that holds disparate, messy systems together. The AI was great at generating new bricks, but terrible at designing the mortar and laying the structure in a way that wouldn't collapse under load. I found myself becoming a prompt engineer focused almost entirely on explaining the internal plumbing of our system, rather than the desired output functionality. The AI would confidently propose a solution that looked amazing on paper, but would have crashed the server due to resource exhaustion in our specific environment. The difference between a senior programmer and AI is the senior programmer understands the why and the ecosystem. The AI only understands the how in isolation. Day 5 and 6, redefining the role, the shift from coder to prompt engineer. By day 5, I stopped trying to force the AI to be a self-sufficient developer. Instead, I started using it as a specialized, ultra-fast research tool and code generator. The relationship flipped from master slant to co-pilot architect. The art of debugging AI-generated code, it's still your responsibility. The code AI generates often looks perfect, but it can contain subtle security flaws or logical errors that are hard to spot because they adhere to perfect syntax. I realized that my most important job wasn't coding, but rigorous quality assurance and security auditing of the AI's output. If I shipped a bug generated by the AI, I was the one responsible. The required skill wasn't knowing how to write the code from scratch, but having enough foundational knowledge to spot the one wrong line out of 500 generated lines. This skill, critical evaluation and verification, is becoming the most highly paid aspect of modern development. Prompt engineering is rapidly becoming the core of modern technical workflows. Becoming the architect, not the builder. The AI removed the labor of typing, the builder role, but amplified the importance of design, the architect role. I spent my last 2 days not writing code, but refining the architecture, documenting the interfaces, and carefully selecting which AI-generated solutions to implement and which to discard because they didn't fit our long-term goals. The human coder's future is in high-level problem-solving, not low-level syntax. AI makes the conceptual heavy lifting more critical, as failure to properly architect the prompt results in massive time waste. The final verdict. What really happened to my project? In 7 days, I managed to complete about 70% of the planned project, which is excellent on paper. But here's the unexpected truth. The code generated by AI was fast, but required extensive human verification and rewriting of the connecting logic. It saved me time on boilerplate, but cost me time in debugging contextual errors. The project was technically incomplete because the critical integration piece, the part requiring deep legacy system knowledge, never fully materialized using AI alone. I didn't need a replacement programmer. I needed an augmentation tool. The future, AI won't steal your job, but someone using AI will. This entire experiment clarified the shift in the job market, especially concerning AI replacing programmers. The human role is pivoting hard towards management, architecture, context, and ethics. AI handles the mundane, freeing up humans for the strategic, high-value work. If you are a junior coder who only focuses on repetitive tasks, you must pivot immediately. If you are a senior architect, your value just skyrocketed because the scope of the projects you can handle has increased tenfold, provided you master prompt engineering. Point 1. Prompt engineering is the new syntax. Knowing how to ask the perfect question is more valuable than knowing how to write the perfect function. Point 2. The value of critical context. Understanding your specific code base, deployment environment, and business logic is the ultimate moat against automation. Point 3. Debugging is king. The ability to audit, secure, and fix AI-generated code is the highest leverage skill you can acquire right now. Conclusion. Mastering the AI co-pilot relationship. So, did I permanently fire my developer? Absolutely not. But the relationship has fundamentally changed. The week proved that AI isn't here to take the tools away from the carpenter. It's here to turn the carpenter into a site supervisor. The fear surrounding AI replacing programmers is misplaced. The real challenge is adaptation. We are entering an era where skill is measured not by lines of code written, but by the complexity of the problem solved and how effectively you can utilize AI as your personal, tireless co-pilot. So that's my take on it. What do you think? Which of these required new skills, prompt engineering or critical debugging, scares you or excites you the most? I'd genuinely love to know. drop a comment below. For more insights that decode the logic of AI, follow SynthePulse.